I love a good book series. With multiple books, you can really get to know the characters and their personalities, their quirks, and their motivations behind their behaviors. But sometimes it can be a lot to commit to reading a long book series. So here are some of my favorite standalone novels. First up, we have Run Rose Run by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. Annie Lee Keyes has just moved to Nashville to try and make it as a country musician. Out of sheer luck, she meets Ethan Blake, who is an in-house musician for the country music legend Ruth Anna Ryder, who really wants to help Annie Lee in her career. Things start to go pretty well for her, but then she learns that no matter how fast you run, your past always catches up to you. If you are interested in this book, I highly recommend the audiobook. It has a full cast with Kelsey Ballerini voicing the female main character and Ruth Anna Ryder being voiced by the Queen Dolly Parton herself. I have in fact listened to this audiobook 3 times. There is just something about this book that I absolutely love. The characters are so lovable and go through their own journeys throughout the book, and the way that all of the characters blend together is just great. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Hannah is an executive protection agent, aka a bodyguard. She loves her job. She's worked very hard to get where she is now. When she gets the gig of protecting Hollywood heartthrob Jack Stapleton while he is in town visiting his family. However, he does not want his family to know that he needs a bodyguard. So in order for Hannah to be able to do her job, she has to pretend to be his girlfriend. Because of course she does. Of course she does. I love this book. It is genuinely laugh out loud funny. I can flip back to any of the tabs, any of the dog ears in this book, and just have a good laugh at some of these quotes in this book. And the chemistry between the two characters is amazing. I love them. I love this book. Nora Goes Off Script by Annabel Monaghan. Nora Hamilton is a romance screenwriter who knows the perfect formula for a good love story. But her life turns upside down when her husband leaves her and their kids. And she writes the best script of her career about that experience. Now it is being turned into a movie and they are filming on location at Nora's house. When filming is over and everyone leaves, she finds Leo, the man cast to play her ex-husband, on her porch asking if he can stay for a few days to get away from his crazy Hollywood life. Honestly, I would recommend any of Annabel Monaghan's books. They are great. Women's fiction with some romance thrown in. I love the nuances Annabel Monaghan adds in about their characters' lives and the people that they love and how the characters grow to love themselves more as they are falling in love. Annabel Monaghan is along the lines of Emily Henry, those authors who have this unnatural ability to put into words universal experiences that everyone has gone through, but are so often hard to describe. Some of my favorite, most touching quotes I've ever read have come from this book. Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. In her prime, Carrie Soto was the greatest tennis player of all time. Now, several years later, she is watching a newcomer threaten to take her titles. So she decides that she's going to come out of retirement and train to go back into the competition circuit to be able to defend her titles. Obviously, she's in for way more than she bargained for, physically, mentally, relationally, and she grows in every area of her life. I went into this book not expecting to like it. This is part of Taylor Jenkins Reid's Hollywood series. Honestly, the only way these books are connected are very small cameos by some of the other characters. You do not need to read any of the other books in order to understand what's going on. Reading this book is not going to spoil any of the other books for you. It's really not a series in the traditional sense, which is why it's included in this list. I read the other books in this series and I just really didn't like them. They weren't really the kinds of books that I really enjoy. They weren't the kinds of characters that I enjoy reading about. So I had very low expectations when going into this book. I had no idea that I was going to binge read this entire thing in a single sitting. So, if that tells you anything, this is a beautiful story of self-discovery and learning that you are never too old to learn new things about yourself. I will recommend this book to anybody who will listen. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. In the wake of the worst day of her life, Clementine moves into her late aunt's apartment and comes home from work one day and finds a strange man standing in her living room claiming that he has been living here for weeks. Come to find find out that Clementine's new apartment has a unique ability to travel 7 years in the past. So what do you do when you start to fall for someone who doesn't live at the same time as you? I do not have much experience reading magical realism, which is what this book is, but I loved it. It was so cute, had me giggling and kicking my feet. Ewan is my kind of man. I love him. I love him, he's my type. The Women by Kristin Hannah. Tradition is a very strong pillar of Frankie's family. The men go off to war to make a name for themselves, and the women stay home to prepare to get married. Frankie has no interest in doing that. She wants to follow her brother off to war. So she enlists as an army nurse in the Vietnam War. Now, do not be fooled. Those who worked to save the wounded and dying saw just as much carnage as those who held the guns. And doing your best to save the lives of others while yours is also in danger is a whole other animal. When she comes back to the US, Frankie faces a whole load of hardship as she tries to readjust to life as a civilian with zero support because everyone refuses to acknowledge her war service and the fact that she served in the military. Do not read this book if you do not want to cry. It is a heart-wrenchingly beautiful story, and it really opens your eyes when you stop and think about the fact that this book is based on events that happened to real people. The details are fictional, but the events are rooted in reality. Taking place in a time when women were still brushed aside and invalidated at every turn, this book draws you in until the characters' feelings are your own. Their anguish is your anguish, and you can't see where the characters end and you begin. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Many years ago, when she was at summer camp, Emma watched as 3 of her cabin mates snuck out into the night and were never heard from again. Now Emma is making a name for herself as an up-and-coming artist in New York when she gets a call and is asked to come back to that same summer camp to teach art to the students over the summer. Emma agrees for the sole purpose of maybe finding out more about what happened to those girls during that fateful summer all those years ago. This is definitely one of my favorite thrillers I've ever read. I feel like the plot of it happening at a summer camp is so unique, and Riley Sager's writing is always so surprising to me. I never guess where the story is going to go. However, once I hear the conclusion, once the mystery is solved, I can look back on the book and see how that fits in with the story. And Riley Sager's writing is just so gripping that you can't put the book down. You are constantly being drawn to turn the page to see what happens next. And finally, we have 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. Now, Red and her friends are taking a road trip in an RV down to Florida for spring break when their RV breaks down. In the middle of nowhere, no phone service, no other souls around for miles. It's even better when the tires get shot out, and slowly they all begin to realize that them being there in that moment was no accident. There is someone out there hunting them because someone in their group is hiding a secret, and they will do anything they can to figure out what that is. This book takes place over a single night, so it is a very fast-paced story. Now, if I'm being completely candid, Holly Jackson is one of my favorite authors of all time. I love her thriller writing. Her writing is so good, her plot lines are so unique. I love the characters that she writes, no matter how flawed they are, and I love to see how the stories unfold. So, those are some of my favorite standalone novels for when you are wanting a new read that has a little bit less commitment to it. But that is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know that you enjoy this type of content. Comment down below any of your favorite standalone novels that I missed, and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content in the future. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!